Hello everyone, I'm Major Jip. I picked up another project. As you could tell, it's a clock. This is a Wink Pam Clock Company clock. You can kind of read down there. It's in pretty rough shape, but I'm hoping to be able to take care of that. So, the good and the bad. The good is the outer glass is in good shape. The back panel's actually not in that bad a shape. This has a lot of rust in it. I have a replacement. The cord's not in the best of shape. I have a replacement. So the two main things that are wrong with it is the back dial. As you could probably tell, the paint's coming off. And the light doesn't work. I'm hoping the light's going to be simple. Because it could either be the starter is bad, the bulb is bad, or the transformer is bad. Two of them are easy to fix. The third one, well, it can be fixed, but it's kind of annoying. So I guess we'll just plug it in, see if magically it'll come to life and light up now. I did plug it in before I got it, and the motor is like silent. I'm gonna see if I can drip a little bit of oil into it just in case, but I paid $100 for it, which honestly isn't too bad for these. Even in worse shape than this, they seem to go for $200-300. And I believe I have all the parts I need to fix it, unless I mess up the hands. I don't have a replacement handset on order or in. Clock works, light doesn't. So let's take a look at the bulb. And the bulb does seem pretty well worn. As you can see, a lot of rust there. I'm just going to replace this whole part, and then I'll let that soak in some evapor rust and hopefully clear that up. Yeah, bulb is pretty black on the edges. So what I'm going to do first, starter is right here, is pop the starter out. Let's see here. Double life, 2-year guarantee. I'm sure it's been in there far longer than that. Alright, so I got here a brand new starter. Let's unplug the clock. Pop the brand new starter in. There we go. Gotta get it in just the right angle. And let's plug it in. Alright. Oh. The bulb keeps arcing. Okay, and the starter keeps arcing and the bulb keeps arcing. Probably a bad spot in the bulb. So let's take out this old beaten bulb. Wow, that is very darkened. And let's see, I have a cold white and daylight, and I also have an LED that you don't need a starter for, but I'm not sure how this is going to look in the bulb, in the clock. So once I see if everything else is working, then we'll see how that looks. No weird arcing, no flickering. Okay, so it seems the lighted portion's fixed. I wonder if that was all the bulb or if the old starter was burned up. Not that it matters, I'm more just curious. Nothing. Okay, so the bulb was bad and the starter was bad. Fair enough. Now we can get a better view of what we're dealing with. I see some dead ladybugs in there. That's it's always a plus. It's strange. It's mostly the green paint that's faded away. I wonder if the pigment in the green made the adhesion worse or something. Then again, the white's not looking all that much better. It is interesting that this is a fluorescent Pam clock. Most of them were two incandescent bulbs that were like here and here, and you could actually usually see burn spots where people put too high of a wattage of a bulb in and actually burned it up. But, so I guess this is probably a later one than that. Okay, light's coming back on. And we are going to unplug it, start taking it apart. This bezel is in very bad shape. I have a replacement. To get these bezels off, to get this whole clock disassembled, you bend this little tab, and you only really get a couple of bends of these tabs if you were to be saving this bezel, which I probably will try. I'm gonna try and get the rust off of it and keep it, because if not, the other ones come silver and you have to paint them. Alright, next is this painted glass. You know, put that where it won't get broken. That should clean up no problem. Getting the hands off, I believe you turn the, yep, you turn the second hand reverse, and that comes off. Then you get this little screw down here, which is usually on pretty tight. Grab that, loosen that. That comes off. Set all these parts in a spot where you're not going to lose them. Now the hour hand, which these things always tend to be an issue to get off. Okay, so it didn't go perfect, but I didn't really damage anything. I'm going to have to just sort of flatten that out a little bit. What I ended up doing is taking a really thin pair of pliers and grabbing underneath the hand and then just sort of twisting and twisting until it came out. I have replacement glass, so if I broke the glass, it would have been fine, but I'd prefer to not break the glass, because, well, it's still a good piece of glass. It could always get reprinted or maybe even touched up. So it is kind of bad down on the bottom here. But after you get the hand off, this whole section lifts out. And you can see all the paint just flaking. Probably lead. Don't breathe it or lick it. And we are left with the interior of the clock, which honestly isn't as bad as I was expecting it to be. Let me just readjust my focus. All right, so what I am going to do. Ooh, that is nasty. It's all dirt and. Now, in terms of getting the motor out to oil it, did it give you a spot? I see it's mounted on a couple of posts. This stuff is gonna get everywhere. I'll scrape off as much as I can and then try and catch it into a garbage bag. I have bits and pieces of old paint for. Okay, that's about as good as it's going to get. I'm going to take my new bulb out for now. I guess I'll take my new starter out too. I would like to oil this motor, but they don't really give a good place to oil it. Well, I'll find something. Take your little pin out of there. That will disconnect your setting rod. Put that with all the other random assorted parts over here. That means the only thing holding the motor in right now is the wires and the rivets. But I should be able to get into there and unscrew the little nuts to hold it in. There's one out completely. There's another one out completely. And the third one out completely. which means, yep, whole motor falls back. Luckily, they are attracted to a magnet, so I was able to grab those 3. And I can undo all this wiring because I'm going to have to redo it anyway. Alright, I'm not going to touch that wiring loom there. Actually, honestly speaking, I think that's your little oil port for the motor. So what I'm gonna do, this is, well, this isn't the safest way to do it, I'm sure, but I'm gonna plug it into the motor's spinning, and I'm just gonna drip some oil in. Alright, so I might have gone a little overboard with cleaning the mechanism. So I took the motor out, made sure it was actually getting proper oil, cleaned all down into there, cleaned the shaft. So now that's nice, spins free, so that's all good to go. The oil port's now kind of cleared out, it's no longer dropping a bunch of gunk. Took that out, cleaned that. This has all kinds of old grease and stuff, and one of these is actually a little worn out, but should be alright. Load that in. All your gears for the mechanism. I do know how these go back together, by the way. And, I don't know, back plate too. This is all soaking into Simple Green, the aviation formula, so it won't discolor the brass or anything. And a little setting nut, throw that in there too. And just gonna let it run for a while. Okay, so as you'd imagine, it's a few days later. And I actually got most of it put back together already because I recorded putting it back together. It was just boring. It was boring to record. Half of it was just messing with the little nuts to get the motor hook back into place. So I'll go over what I did. I used a drill and a wire wheel to take all the original paint off the inside. Here's a picture of it before I did the fine process of taking a wire brush and just getting all the remaining spots. So I got it down to bare metal. Tried to lay down one coat of white spray paint and primer combo, and the can sputtered all over the place. Can was messed up, brand new. So I got a completely horrible finish. Decided I would try to wire wheel some of it off and sand it down to get it smoother, and well, it didn't work. So the paint finish is horrible, but it's on the inside of the clock, so it doesn't matter too much. I've installed the new cord, rewired everything. I also wired wheeled the ballast, and that's all repainted. That actually came out nice. I stuck the fluorescent Sylvania bulb into it, and the replacement back cover, which is a slightly different color. I kept the original paint. I don't know. I could have completely taken this paint off and tried to find a color that closely matched this. I don't feel like going too far with this. I was going to install the LED bulb, but there's a problem with it. You see, these wires only fit this way, because if the bulb is flipped, this blocks the back cover. And if it's set in like that, it's not aiming forward. So LED bulb won't work, or at least I don't think it would work very well. Other than that, I oiled the electric motor. I greased all the gears in the gearbox, and well, quick test, you'll see it does in fact work. Oh, and it's got a horrible flicker because the line frequency is off to what the camera's recording. Fair enough. Ballast makes a little bit of noise. They always kind of do. Motor is pretty much silent like it was. But at least I know now it's greased. So here comes the fun part. This is our replacement glass. And if you go online, you can actually find there's a few companies that make these replacements, and they seem to be pretty good. Metal's bent a little bit, so I will have to fix that very carefully. There we go. So now I just need a microfiber cloth. So let's actually just take a look at that before I put the other parts on. See how even it lights. Yeah, that's pretty nice. I quite like that. It's keeping the clock to the original design. And, well, the other one was horrible. So next thing to do would be to place the hands in, which I'm going to it's one of those things you're probably never going to get all the bits of dust out. At least not in this garage where dust is just everywhere. And we can always set the hands properly after we put these two on. Probably going to need to adjust that. Yep, the hand got pushed down some. Well, this hand can probably go down some. That one can get angled up some. Bit of microfiber that got ripped off. So we're going to set this at 12 o'clock position. Set the hour hand. Okay. I'm not going to go too tight on that because I don't want to mess up the hands. Alright, yeah, just a little bit of a turn on that. And I'm going to have to adjust the second hand now. Alright, so we got the hands all set up. Now it's time to put the glass back on. This is the original glass that I cleaned. It's not in the best of shape. It's got a couple of deep gouges in it, like right here, and it's got some rust staining up there. No matter how much I scraped, I couldn't get it off. I even tried with a razor blade, and I don't know. It's angled glass, so I didn't want to go too tough on it. I cleaned it up as best as I could inside, but honestly speaking, you're only going to get it so good. You're always going to end up having some kind of dust under there. Before I put the final band on it, let's plug it in, make sure it works, because what can happen what can happen is the second hand could scrape onto the glass, and that wouldn't be good. In this instance, it looks like it's doing fine. Oh, but you can hear the hour hand is, the minute hand is scraping. So let's take it back off. Put the tiniest more angle onto the minute hand. Lay down the glass again. And now nothing hits. That's like permanently stuck in the glass. So the last thing to do is to put on a metal band. Now this, you could buy these replacement bands and they're all silver or stainless steel. And what I did was I got some gold leaf paint and put a couple of layers on that. That actually came out pretty good, and it for the most part matches the color. And how you lock this is you pull all 4 of them tight, and then you just bend down this tab. Now, if you were to do this properly, you would bend this tab all the way over. I'm only going to bend it this far because you only get so many times of bending these before the metal fatigues and cracks, and I prefer to be able to get into it a little bit easier if I have to. And with that tab bent like that, it's not coming apart. So there's the clock fully completed. It's still got some markings of being an old clock, but it's got a replacement glass. The motor runs smooth and the light works. So I think it's about all you could ask for. So I hope you found this informative. Thank you for watching. Major Jip signing out.